Aloha, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Breakthrough Show, where our mission is to help others break through barriers to unlock their full potential for an abundant life of health, wealth, and freedom. This is Jean Grosso coming to you live from Honolulu, Hawaii.
And this is Sharla Land from Phoenix, Arizona.
Welcome, everyone. Our topic today is going to be a little bit of an interview, something different. I'm going to interview Sharla, who has been a nurse for 30 years in hospice and palliative care, and now she's in the neurological unit in Arizona. And we have I would really like you to share with our audience what you're seeing now recently, maybe within the last year, how it was different than maybe 5 years ago and 10 years ago. And what are people coming in? What are the ages of people that are coming into the unit? And what's the medical community offering now to these patients?
Oh gosh. Yeah, thank you, Jeannie, for that. I think the biggest things that we're facing in today's times is a lot of in younger and younger generations. So to answer, first of all, what ages we see, my hospital is located in a high retirement area, but it's only separated from a main street to a very predominantly family-oriented young community. So it's a mix, I would say. So the average age, I believe, the last statistics I heard from our supervisors, the average age is about 58 to 60. So, that tells you that people are coming in younger and younger, having issues going on. One of the biggest things that I see with young people, especially those who frequent the hospital, is they have issues like kidney issues. They're on dialysis for some reason. Either they have lupus or they had, like uncontrolled hypertension or high blood pressure when they were younger and never managed it. And so it led to eventual kidney failure. All the way from, to people who are up in their 90s and have, had a stroke. One of the things I'm noticing of late, since this whole 2020 fiasco, and that's what I'm going to call it, pandemic, I've seen high numbers, unprecedented numbers of people having strokes since the vaccine. I'm just going to come out and say it. So we're seeing a wide range of people coming in with different issues, but I'd have to say, and I work on a stroke unit, so we are seeing, 4 and 5, sometimes up to 10 people having strokes a day coming into the emergency department. And that's just, those that we know that are coming in with stroke. Those are the people who are coming in on the ambulances, that they actually announce it through the whole hospital, the stroke alert, that someone's coming in with stroke symptoms. So we know
do you know that they had the shot or not? Like, at what point do you know if they had?
Well, we flat out ask them screening questions. If they've had their COVID vaccination, if they've had their pneumonia vaccination, have they had their flu shot? So we're asking these questions, and then we're also screening them for signs and symptoms of COVID or the flu, so that we make sure that we're, protecting the other part of the population in the hospital that doesn't have COVID. But we are seeing a little bit of a rise in COVID numbers as well. And so when you start seeing rises in COVID and viruses, sometimes you see a rise also in strokes, because infections in the blood and in the system can be a precursor to stroke. So to answer your question, to get back to your original question, kind of what I'm seeing in the gamut and the age differences and what we're seeing trending coming into the hospital. Of course, we have a, labor and delivery unit. So, that part of the population doesn't really count toward the sick population, or people who are challenged with, chronic illnesses. So, it's kind of interesting to see, just being a nurse on the floor. I'll have to share one day I had 5 patients, and each of those 5 patients, and I am not over exaggerating, each of them had 3 different IV antibiotics each. And so there's a multitude of issues with that, right? First of all, we're seeing unprecedented numbers of infectious disease coming in, infections that get serious. I mean, we're all exposed to staphylococcus. It's on our skin. You can scrape your skin and it's, but we have defense mechanisms. Our skin is a barrier. So, and most of us have pretty good immune systems. But what I'm seeing is those immune systems are getting broken down and people are coming in with infection. So where maybe a urinary tract infection can lead to sepsis, which means that urinary tract infection went from the bladder into the blood system. Now we're dealing with a whole body-wide infection. So that calls for high doses and very potent antibiotics to treat some of these organisms. So, that to me is a huge factor. There's sometimes we can't find what kind of infection it is. That's very, difficult because we can't find the right antibiotic to target that infection. So we're seeing a lot of, those are things that we're seeing as what we call comorbidities to maybe the main reason why they're there. Maybe they came in because they got pneumonia. Well, pneumonia is an infection in itself, right? Because you either have bacterial pneumonia or viral pneumonia. Sometimes we get aspiration pneumonia. But we see people come in with stroke. And then, oh gosh, we also found out that they have a bad urinary tract infection. Or, oh my gosh, we found out that they're diabetic and they have a toe infection. They didn't even know it. So it's very prevalent. I see a lot of infection in addition to, people coming with stroke. And then now we're seeing a little bit more of the numbers for COVID kick up. So that, in itself, increases stress in the workplace, and more exposure to viruses and bacteria. But I'm really grateful and I'm very thankful that I have a line of defense of some things that I take supplement wise that helps combat those diseases we fear most. And because I can't help but wonder, how did they get like this? That's my first question. Like, what does their diet look like? What does their exercise look like? What does their environment look like? Are they clean? Are they healthy? Are they using industrial chemicals? Did they grow up in an area that had industrial I mean, I think of all of these things while I'm taking care of them, while I'm asking them the questions, while I'm trying to get down to the bottom of why they are, we know why they're there, but what led to maybe why that problem that led them to the hospital. So, we ask a lot of probing questions. And so in my mind, when I see cancer patients or when I was working in hospice, I think, where do they live? I had at one point, I had 4 hospice patients on one street and they all lived on a golf course. So I started to think about the water supply to that golf course, and do they spray the golf course with pesticides? And, it leads you down these paths of thinking, because all of that I want to avoid. I want to teach others how to avoid it. I want to teach others. I want to live the lifestyle to the best of my ability, to be the healthiest I can be. And then we're always on that constant search for truth and what can help us build our body's own immune systems so that we can fight all these diseases and age gracefully. So, when you shared with me back a little over 2 years ago about something you found, I was absolutely astounded. I didn't even know that you don't know what you don't know. And nurses and doctors, I'm on a mission to bring the word to nurses and to doctors. It's amazing how they don't know about this. And then I start spinning my wheels thinking, oh my gosh, I'm wondering how this swish could help patients. Like, swish needs to be on every single bedside table in every single hospital if it's not contraindicated, if they're not someone who's going to just, pick it up and drink it, like a dementia patient or something, or they don't have the ability to swish it. But I just know that there's solutions to the problems that we are facing. And that's why I want out of, partly, I love the population which I serve, and I always, I feel I love them and I have compassion for them. anytime I have an opportunity to educate them and share with the patient, the family, about a modality that could help them. Do I ever claim to cure or mitigate anything? Absolutely not. But I encourage them to look it up, to do their own research, to find out the things outside of Western medicine that can really help them, help support their bodies, help support their cells. It's unbelievable. People don't know where to start. And I think this is a great starting point with, the molecular hydrostat encapsulation that we have with the swish. And I'll let you talk a little bit more about that and how you discovered it and what we're finding with people's testimonies. I see how many people can be helped because we're living in a really sick system. And I'm out to turn that around, turn that healthcare paradigm around and help people become aware. I mean, what a perfect time. People are coming awake and realizing that the system is broken and our wellness system, our sick system is broken. We need a wellness system. We need a system of where we're educated. I mean, how empowering is it when you figure out the key to unlock something and it opens up this whole treasure box of health and healing and hope for tomorrow? Like, you don't have to suffer anymore with this disease. And I just so much want to reach out to those patients. I pray over them before I start my day. And, I just ask the Lord to give me the right words that are healing and encouraging so that they can heal. I find that nurses who are positive and loving and compassionate with their patients, they heal faster, they get discharged sooner. And all of that goes hand in hand. And I think we have a hope for people. So with that, yeah, that's just kind of what I'm seeing. And
well, I mean, what do they send them? They come in, they have a stroke, you put them on antibiotics and whatever meds, and then they go home and do what? I mean, what do you send them home with?
Yeah, I mean, some of them don't get to go home, depending on the severity of a stroke or the severity of that infection and how it's been detrimental to the body. It takes a long time. They say one day laying in bed is equivalent to losing 2 days of strength. So we try to get them up and moving as quickly as possible, but many of them have to go to rehab facilities, extended long-term care or long-term acute care. They're called LTACs, long-term acute care facilities, where they're still very, very sick, but they're not quite requiring a hospital level care, but maybe they're on a chronic ventilator. And the therapies are trying to get them up and work with them to keep their strength, to help them rehabilitate, to get back to a prior level of functioning. So many of them, and then there's skilled nursing facilities where maybe they had a hip surgery and they need to go to that rehab facility for, a couple of weeks to get better so that they can go home. So there's stages sometimes that people need. And, along that journey is making sure that their medication list goes with it, making sure they have their discharge instructions, giving the report to the oncoming or the nurse taking over their care. So there's so many factors to that, and making sure that they're equipped and understand what's happening and educated about their conditions so that they know the things that they need to be doing with their diet. So there is.
So do they talk about diet and water? Do they give them glutathione? I mean, are they prescribing any kind of nutritional supplement, or why not glutathione when that can enhance their healing? It causes oxygen transfer. And that's what stroke is, right? Lack of oxygen to the blood through the brain. So, I mean, isn't that how a stroke happens? And they're not giving them the one single-handedly master antioxidant, glutathione, that can prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
So they don't do any of that?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I think doctors, to our detriment, they don't know about it. They're not taught these things. And, while they might know generally what glutathione is, I think that the emphasis has been placed so much on the protocols for certain sicknesses and illnesses, and glutathione doesn't fall within that paradigm at all. You know,
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
very grateful for
something that could threaten
that.
the livelihood of a pharmaceutical company. Let's be real. You know, we're seeing such fantastic testimonies, and if we dare say anything about it curing or healing or you know, anything to that, it's you get shut down immediately. This is how they control our lives essentially. So they button, and you know, that's censorship, and that's taking away essentially our freedom of speech. But yeah, unfortunately, doctors aren't aware of this, you know, and as we get the word out more and more about this technology and the swish, you know, I believe it does belong in every hospital. I think we need to be meeting with every CEO across the nation of every hospital in every state, because this is something that could truly help support people with very severe illnesses. And this is it's such a burden. Healthcare costs are such a burden on families, and there's so much bankruptcy, and you know, but we're just not making people more well. We're not teaching them how to be well. We're just keep teaching them how to be more dependent on the system. Okay, well, Mr. Jones, here's your blood thinner, and here's your anti-cholesterol agent, and oh, never mind what it's going to do to your ability to have a good relationship with your wife in bed, you know, because we're lowering your cholesterol, which has everything to do with testosterone. And you know, it's just, and then we wonder why, you know, we have dementia, you know, and I can go on, but we have got
Well, the system's flawed. I mean, it's a sick care system, and you know, we're on a mission to reach people for prevention. And then, you know, once if they make it out of the hospital from a stroke, you know, a heart attack, any of these conditions, then they need to be proactive and they need to make that choice, because there are solutions. They're not only proven, they happen instantly. And I mean, the science is there. There's nothing to think about. So what we're on a mission for is a health care system and prevention system. And that is so simple to do when you can now, with breakthrough technology, you can now just swish a supplement in your mouth like mouthwash and swallow it. You can just simply spray it on your skin. It goes through every layer of skin in your body. And with glutathione we're being the only company in the world that has a double breakthrough of not only nanosizing the glutathione molecule under 10 nanometers, which has never been done in history, but we also encapsulate it in an ultra purified water molecule that's 400 times more pure than the hospital IV solution. So if you really want to avoid going into an ER and seeing, I thank you for your service, Sharla, because if we didn't have ER nurses and ER doctors, you know, we'd be in really bad shape. But understand that the medical system is meant for you to stay on it and never break free. So our whole show is about breaking free and breaking through to the abundant life. And that includes mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. And guess what? When you don't have your brain, you don't have almost any, you have nothing. Okay. Because like Alzheimer's, cognitive decline, Parkinson's, these diseases, ALS, when you lose your brain function and your cognition, then you're completely dependent on everybody else, just as if you were in a coma. And I witnessed it firsthand with my mom. And that's why I'm so passionate about prevention, and being now 55 and being able to even have a tool, having a single-handed product, literally one product, one spray, inside out, outside in, do so much so fast. And now with the neuro, with the 14 nano-sized ingredients, including glutathione,
we're going to dwarf the health and wellness industry's capsules. And all that is a thing of yesterday. We have got to look to the future and get on that rocket ship and really, really impact people's health.
Well, it's literally a no-brainer. And, you know, I want to just acknowledge you, Sharla. 30 years as a nurse and bridging out of that to do this mission with us as a team and bring this to the entire world. We're already positioned in 74 countries in 3 years. So it's just a matter of time before we hit over 100 countries. And not only is it going to help people with a severe cognitive decline and all the benefits of glutathione, which is, immune system boost, increased recovery, enhanced performance, better sleep, every single function that everybody wants: energy, performance, sleep, cognition, better skin, better memory, better focus, better clarity. All these things, one molecule can do it. One molecule single-handedly can do it all. It needs to be the foundation in every single person's home, including for your kids. And it's just like, where we'll be able to go as a society. We won't even need the pharmaceuticals. We won't even need the medical protocols, because they don't work. They actually toxify you more. You can never heal from it. It's just so frustrating to see. I can't wait till you completely leave the career and come on this path full time and do this, because can you imagine what we can do together as a team when people share with other people and then share with other people and share with other people? The next thing you know, we the people hold the power. Okay.
Right.
In the entire world, we the people hold the power. And then we're up against the pharmaceutical company that everybody thinks is so big. Well, there's more people in the world than there are pharmaceutical people. Okay. So you know what? I take it on. It's a personal mission for me. Those meds killed my parents, both of them. Okay. I said it when I was 21. I said the meds, the doctors killed my parents because they administered the meds. So you know what? If you don't like the truth, then maybe the show isn't for you. That's what we're all about. We're all about speaking truth. And this is something that I'm really passionate about. I know you're passionate about. I don't even know how you've done it for 30 years in witnessing these people decline and die and decline and die. And you can't do anything about it. Because even if you did say something to someone that had a chance, you could get fired, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
They want to suppress the truth.
And some doctors are under the same kind of pressure from the AMA. So,
Yeah.
if
Absolutely.
you go outside of the protocol and you prescribe something, I mean, just those whole COVID thing was also another shed the light on the situation and who's really controlling who. So yeah, absolutely. But we have solutions, and we, you tell me something's anti-aging, you better bet your bottom dollar, we're going to research it. And we're going to know if it's a worthwhile place to, invest in. And I'll tell you, this, what we're invested in is absolutely 100% hands down the biggest breakthrough in human health history. I have to agree
Amen
with you 100%
to that.
on that. Yeah, so good.
Well, we can
do a whole show, a whole podcast just on statins, and
okay, that'll be a next topic.
Cholesterol lowering
really
agents and what it does to your body. Yeah.
Yeah, write that down, because that's the statins. It's not a matter of
statin epidemic.
Yeah, and fentanyl too. And we can just do topics like every day of the week nonstop on the medical community. But bottom line is, the problem is the healthcare system. The solution is prevention and taking the steps that you need to do to ensure that you have a well-functioning body, mind, and spirit, and
taking responsibility for your own health.
Yeah, taking responsibility. Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll see you on next week's show.
Goodbye, everyone.